Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Paperweight Entertainment Podcast, your home for all things Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and so much more. Join Derek and Ian as they tell tales to astonish along this journey into mystery. Grab some snacks and settle in because Paperweight Entertainment starts now. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Paperweight Entertainment Podcast. I'm your co-host, Derek Hoskins, and with me tonight, as always, is my good friend and yours, the lovable, the huggable, the talented, the glue, Mr. Ian Torrance. Ian, how you doing?
Oh, how much time you got?
About an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh God, that was very specific and on the nose. Wasn't expecting that. I'll keep it short and sweet then. I'm all right.
All right. How are your knees?
Terrible. Thank you for asking. Knees, not horrible. Knee, this right knee, man, it pops and cracks. It's getting progressively worse. I think they may take it. I think they may have to take the kneecap at least.
Just shave off the kneecap.
Yep.
Just a little.
They may have to, man. It's not doing well. Also not doing well would be my spine. If anybody's out there looking to donate a spine.
Also, anybody wants to donate like some blood vessels? I have blood clots in my left leg. That's fun. That was a fun.
Oh, here we go. At the top.
That was a fun. There was a fun hospital trip. But everything's good. We're all good here.
That's good.
How are you? So before we get into it, I know that you've seen what the title of this episode is, so you know what the main topic is going to be. Before we get into anything, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the notification bell, especially if it's your first time here. Please subscribe, comment on this video, share it with your friends. If you're listening on the podcast only, don't forget to rate and review us. We appreciate it very much. Before we get into it, I know Ian hasn't watched any trailers because he doesn't watch trailers. I just want to say really quick, we got to look at Deadpool and Wolverine. Trailer was perfect. I'm not going to say anything about it.
And that's enough of that.
I don't want to say anything for Ian. All I can say is that it was one of the better teasers that I've seen in a long time. Very well done. Also, we got our first announcement of the cast for Fantastic Four with, of course, Pedro Pascal, which we already knew about.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Vanessa Kirby of Mission Impossible fame, playing Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. Excuse me, Johnny Quinn.
Johnny Quest, actually, is his name.
Oh my gosh. Joseph Quinn playing Johnny Storm is what I was trying to say. Joseph Quinn, of course, was Eddie Munson in the fourth season of Stranger Things, a big breakout character. And then playing Ben Grimm, the Thing, we got Evan Moss Bacharach. Got to remember that name. The first time that a Jewish actor is playing a Jewish character in a Marvel movie. So good on you, Marvel, for actually doing that. Well done. I'm very excited about it. Looks like it's going to be a period piece. It was a really fun way of them announcing it. Just wanted to get that out before we get going because we're not talking about anything Marvel tonight. We are talking about comics, though. Ian, what are we talking about?
We are going to talk about, drum roll, please. Oh, there's no drummer over there. Sorry.
It was just me on my legs.
We're talking about Radiant Black.
Woo!
I don't know why I said black like that. Radiant Black.
Maybe watch your tone.
Yeah, we are talking. Can't you see we are talking white? Radiant Black was a pleasant surprise for me because Derek and I are big Kyle Higgins fans, and my Kyle Higgins, let's say, bookography. That's not what it's called. Is Nightwing and a little bit of Power Rangers that I've read from the Boom Studios.
Same.
So loved the run of Nightwing that Kyle Higgins did. You and I both agree on that. And I don't remember what caught my eye on this. I think I was just looking up Kyle Higgins and a few other guys that I like to read their work. Basically. And I saw this and I was like, oh, because it was fairly new when I looked it up. And I knew about it for a little while and I kept like procrastinating because I was trying to get through Batman and I was like, I got so much stuff to read, but I couldn't help it. I had to skim through the first book of Radiant Black, and I did, and I'm glad I did because I brought it up to you and you had heard of it but never read it. You knew that the massive verse, what was that? Did you not hear that?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Oh,
Did
it
you
was like
hear
a
it? Oh, I've got a print going over here just a little off camera. So it could have been my printer making a noise because
oh
I can
no.
hear it going.
Okay, well, we're just trying to be professional here. So whatever.
Look, I can't
Should I
help it.
wait
The
for your
printers,
print or?
it's got about another 6 hours, so I wouldn't recommend
Okay,
it.
well, I'll wait.
I would press on, sir. I
No,
would
no,
press
no.
on.
I got time to kill. 6 hours. And
So
gonna
while
make it. Gonna make it 13 o'clock.
while you're talking about that, while you're thinking about the noises that we're making, um, to your point about Radiant Black, first off, we're only talking about volume one of Radiant Black. I only read the first volume. Ian has read a little bit farther into it. I'm going to, spoiler alert, it's incredible. But yeah, I found out about Radiant Black last year at C2E2. I got to go to C2E2 and I went to the Massive Verse panel that they did and got to hear Kyle Higgins describing the book. I went with our friend Sean Winningham, formerly the Caption Life, currently Crit Hit the Giant. So shout out to Sean. He actually listens to our show sometimes.
Sometimes.
Every now and again. We went to the panel together and he was telling me about how much he really enjoys it. And it sounded great, but I just never, excuse me, I never did anything with it. I never really got into it. And finally, Ian has been talking about how he's been reading it. And I was like, you know what? It's something I've really wanted to do. I've really wanted to pick it up. Why don't if we commit to talking about it on the show, I'll have no reason not to start reading it. And I knew if I started reading it, I was going to love it. And again, spoiler alert for later on, it's fantastic and it hooked me immediately. So yeah, so I heard about it last year. Ian, with all of the nonsense of my printer making noises, please continue.
I was just gonna say that with this whole massive verse thing, I didn't look into much of it because I wanted to get through Radiant Black first, but then I did start looking into it because I thought, how much of Radiant Black do I have to read before
Mm-hmm.
I could jump into other stuff? So what I did was I looked up reading order,
Mm-hmm.
and it says to get through the first 9 issues of Radiant Black before switching over. Now, for those of you that are familiar with Radiant Black and know that there's a collective one shot called
Mm-hmm.
Supermassive, it involves all the Radiants essentially, and there are a few extra characters that it involves as well that have like spin-offs going on as well.
Mm-hmm.
Radiant Pink has her own, Radiant Red has her own, and a few other characters that don't get introduced till later. But reading Radiant Black. Reading Radiant Black made me want to get into the Massive verse. So I messed up at first and I started to read Supermassive because I thought that it was a
Oh
launch
well.
event thing.
Oh no, it's like a big culmination, right?
And yeah, but I thought that it was a big culmination that introduced
Mm.
the Radiance and the Ether. That's what it's called, right? The Ether.
I don't know. I haven't gotten there. They haven't explained what it is yet. They just have been calling it like the Radiant right now.
Okay. I might have combined a movie with this.
The
So
ether is
what is that?
the ether is the reality stone in the MCU, the red like liquidy stone that gets into Jane Foster.
Mm, I don't know. Maybe the ethereal. Maybe it's ethereal.
Maybe, I don't know.
Put a
And
quick pin in this.
yeah.
I'm
I don't
looking it
know.
up right now.
While
I
you're
had it.
looking
I
that
had it
up,
earlier.
while you're looking that up, I wanted to say that for anybody that hasn't read Radiant Black yet, Volume 1 is currently very cheap on Amazon. I got this on Kindle for I think $8.54. I think it's $8.99 for a physical copy. And you can currently get all four of the volumes that are out right now in paperback from Amazon for under $50. So it's a really good price to get those. They each have like 6 issues. Excuse me, and some great covers and things like that in the back. So it is definitely a It's definitely an easy book to jump into, and it hasn't been going on long. It turned out that we we decided to do this last week for sure. And then I found out that February 10th was the 3-year anniversary of Radiant Black kicking off. So issue number 1 came out February 10th, 2021. So we just happened to coincide with an anniversary of the book that we're talking about. So
It's so funny that when
yay.
you're looking for one thing, you find something else, but now that you want to find that, you can't find it where you found it on accident before. It bothers me.
It's amazing how that works.
But anyway, I I got back on track. I was like, "Oh God, this is too far. I don't know what's happening." So that's what I picked up, like the whole reading order thing. I was like, "Yeah, I should probably back up and do this in order." So yeah, I'm doing the first 9 of Radiant Black, but Radiant Black is so good. I don't know if I'm going to stop or just keep going because there's about 24 issues out right now, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, so far, I'm digging the whole universe in general. I liked what I saw of Supermassive
Mm-hmm.
so far, and some of the characters they introduced in that, and volume one, issues 1 through 6. My issue right now is I'm ahead of you, so I can't remember. So a villain was introduced, correct?
A villain is introduced at the
Where
end
you
of
left
this.
off? Okay.
Where at the end of volume 1, there's a villain that is introduced after you meet
Because
the
they're hyping him up
Kid
the whole
Yellow.
time, right? Like he's
Yes,
coming, he's coming.
yeah, he's coming is all that the robot is saying. The robot is saying is that he's coming, and I'm bonded with you until the end of your life. I love how frequently it says until you die. I'm
Yeah.
not going anywhere. I'm here
Hang on.
till you did.
I'm this
You
robot
did.
that lives inside of you. So I do like the character of Nathan a
I do
lot.
too. I like him a
I
lot. He's a
I
great
like his
character.
I like his best friend. I like Marshall. I think they're really cool together, and I like their bond they have, that they're basically brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And Marshall makes me. Did I call him Marshall a minute ago?
You did.
Okay, just making sure. Um, Marshall makes me laugh, and I think he's a great side character,
Yes.
in one man's opinion. So the introduction of them finding a red radiant was really cool, because if you don't know about the whole Massiverse now, you know that there are more than one radiant.
Mm-hmm.
I like the suit
I
that is radiant
love
black. I
the
think it's a
suit.
really cool design. I like that they each radiant has its own powers, and they have different superpowers and stuff like that. That's really cool as well.
Mm-hmm.
I uh I feel bad for Nathan because he's in debt. He's a struggling writer. He's trying to get back on his feet. He's gonna move
Mm-hmm.
back in with his parents, and then he discovers this cool magical thing. And he's got a really pure heart. And Red was kind of an asshole at first.
Yeah.
I really was like, man, this is a villain right here.
And by the way,
And
before you jump into it, because there's going to be some spoilers, full
yeah,
spoilers for a book that's 3 years old. I'm sorry.
yeah.
But the first volume, there's not a whole lot of spoilers to be had, but there's one or two. One that I think you're about to get into. Just heads up.
Well, and there's a battle between Red and Black,
Uh
and
huh.
Black gets a whole fucking building dropped on him.
Yeah.
So Nathan is hospitalized. The thing that I wanted to touch on is what you just brought up, that he's laying there and he's dying, and the orb comes out of him and was like, Marshall, and just chooses Marshall.
Uh
We are bonded until you
huh.
die. I'm like, oh my God, that gave up on Nathan real
Like
quick, right?
immediately.
Um, so I feel bad for Nathan. I hope he pulls through, obviously. Um, Marshall to me was like, and not as bad, but did you ever watch the show Chuck?
I didn't. I did not watch Chuck. I know a lot of people that really enjoy it, but I did not watch Chuck.
Well, Chuck was the guy there for the longest time that had the intersect or whatever in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day it gets transferred over to his dopey best friend. And his best friend was a good side character, but him as the main character, like to me, it was just annoying
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't work. And luckily it didn't last very long.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel this way about Marshall. I like Marshall, but I
Right.
don't like him as Radiant Black as of right now. I don't know if that's going to change or not.
Right.
I think again he's a good side character. I do love his love and passion for
Hmm.
Nathan and their bond.
Yeah.
I I got really you and I talked about this yesterday. I feel really bad for we find out that Radiant Red's name is Satomi and she's got a terrible fiance.
He's the worst. He is the absolute worst. Oh, he's terrible. Um, so I
He
bef-
is
the
terrible.
I was going John Ralphie. The worst. He's the worst person ever. Um, to your point about Marshall and Nathan, I agree. I think Nathan is the better character right now, but I am enjoying Marshall as Radiant Black because, like you said, I don't think it's going to last very long. I think Nathan's going to pull through. Granted, I'm only 6 issues in. Now I'm going to dive in head first and get more of this. I know, but I'm pretty sure that Nathan pulls through and that they're going to be some kind of an interesting feeding off of each other. Um, which I hope that's what they do because I think that Nathan's like kind of reserved, really wanting to think everything through, and then Marshall's like insane like
Quick-witted, quick
aggression
thinking.
and
Yeah.
quick thinking and everything. I think
Russian head
those two
first.
make such a fun dichotomy between each other
Yeah, that's
that I
fair.
really like it. And so like I love Nathan as Radiant Black. I think he's great. I really fell in love with the character immediately, but it was really fun seeing Marshall being like, "Yeah, that other guy, yeah, that's not this guy." Because he asked the question, will you kill? Would you kill to save your world? No hesitation. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So I do like Marshall. I understand exactly what you're saying. He's a great side character, but there is something fun about seeing the separation of those two and the way that they treat the 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 suit and the way they treat the powers. Because also him getting the cape and just being like super excited about getting a cape
Yeah.
was a fun scene.
I just think he dances on the borderline
Hmm.
of criminal and hero.
Yeah, because like he would have
Like
kept if it was him, he would have
villain
kept
or
that
hero.
money.
Yeah. And that's what worries me about Marshall. That's why I think Marshall's a great side character, but he doesn't need all that power.
Hmm.
Um, excuse me. I will say um that it, I don't think that he's going to turn. I just
Right.
think it's really funny that that as soon as like the first question was asked, "What'd you get?" Yep, immediately, yes, no
Absolutely.
hesitation. Now I will attribute that to the fact that his best friend did just get
Almost.
hospitalized and put in
Yeah.
a coma, and he's very upset that he's not going to pull through. He's
Right.
very confident that he's not going to pull through, and that's
Right.
that's sad. So I want to sympathize and say he was just reacting off pure emotion.
Right.
But yeah, let's talk about Satomi's piece of shit fiance.
Oh my
They
God. He's the
they hype him up like he's gonna be like really sweet and awesome. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was gonna say that that story, like, so the thing that I was concerned about with you spoiling was that the red radiant red was actually a woman because she's drawn masculine throughout like the
Hmm.
entire run until that last issue where it shows who she is. And
Then all of a sudden she's got
and then all of a
breasts.
sudden she's clearly a woman. Now they explain that by when she first goes into the bank, she absorbs a bunch of stuff, bulks up, and it fills out and makes her frame look like a man.
I can agree
But
with you there, but
but
she's not bulked up the entire time she was
right,
fighting Radiant
right.
Black in two different
So
issues.
when she's fighting Radiant Black, she still looks like a man, and then or still has like a masculine frame,
Yeah.
and there's no femininity to the way that it's drawn, which is a little weird. Um, but with her, you think throughout that this is just somebody they play it very well. This is some of the the writing here with that Kyle Higgins does, and probably a little bit of there was a co-writer on this, Cherish Chen is the name. I've got the names pulled up here. So I want to make sure I credit anybody that's due, but the
That's
way
true.
the way that it is set up, you absolutely believe that this red person
Hmm.
is just like a terrible person that happened to get superpowers. The way that they play it is that, and the fact that they are able to in less than one issue immediately make you sympathetic towards this person, make you care about this person. because before I even got to the end of the issue, just when the interactions between her and her family, I'm a sucker for family dynamics in any kind of medium. And so
Yeah.
just the interaction with her and her family, it's like, no, this is a person that's trying her best and something terrible is about to happen to her. And then you find out that her fiance is a gambling addict who is also verbally abusive, emotionally abusive, and just a real terrible human being who like gaslights her into saying that she's the reason this is. Do you understand how much you've messed everything up? This is your fault that all this is going bad. Not his fault. It's not his fault that he spent all their money on gambling and spent all of her money that she'd been saving up for grad school. It's her
Yeah.
fault because she had the audacity to look at her own account. It was her account. That was the thing that made me. I had to stop reading for a second when he was just like, "You were never supposed to look into that account. It's her account. What do you mean?
And he's like, this would have been fine if you didn't have to go like snooping around. Like, is it snooping if it's her account? I don't think it's snooping.
That's not
And
snooping at all."
you stole her money.
Yes, you're wrong. And I mean, I know that they're playing it very much like an addict. He absolutely is acting like an addict, and I get it, and I sympathize. I can't imagine. I've never had to deal with a gambling addiction. I can't imagine the kind of places that puts a person emotionally and mentally. But you still suck, man. That character still sucks.
Yeah.
There's no redeeming quality to him, and I hate I hated at the end of the issue when she went and robbed a bank for him because of what he did. Instead
Yeah.
of just saying, "Oh, you're done. Get out of my house. I'm going to figure things out." Instead of that, she went and she broke the law for him. And that really frustrated me, that this character that was a good person that just wanted to teach and just wanted to have a family and settle down and do everything that you're
Now,
supposed to
see,
do.
I didn't take it that way. I didn't take it as she did it for him. I took it as she did it as this is how it's supposed to be. This is how you man up, the term man up. Not literally as a man. That she basically was like, okay, I got these powers now. I'm gonna fix your mistake. I'm gonna take care of it. Basically asserting her dominance and her independence and saying like somebody's got to be the responsible and somebody's got to fix this fuck up essentially and that you messed up and that person clearly isn't going to be you, so here, look at what I did. I did in 14 seconds what took you so long to ruin it. And the way I took it was that wasn't her being like, oh, here you go. Like I didn't take it as she was enabling him. I
Right.
took it as she was showing him like this is how it's supposed to be. When you have a problem, you go out there and solve it. Now, again, I don't agree with how she did that.
Right.
Like you robbed a bank, and the only reason you were able to do that is because you got these cosmic powers.
Right.
So
Phenomenal cosmic
power. So, um, I just took it. It was basically her like, fuck you to him. It was
Yeah.
like, hey, look, daddy's got it. And she went out and did what she had to do to take care of it. I didn't take it as she was doing that to be like, here you go,
And
babe.
that's
I got you,
fair.
boo boo.
That's fair. I agree with you. The way that I said that did sound like it. I didn't like the fact that she did that to fix his problem. Not that she did it
Yeah.
for him. I didn't like that she had to go and break the law and put herself in a questionable position to fix his issue, because like she wouldn't have got the money back, but I would have called the cops on him. This dude stole all my money. Get your butt to jail. That's your fault. Sorry.
She loved him and she believed in him
I
and thought
know.
that he could turn it around for some
And
reason.
hey, love makes you do
until
crazy
she got that
things.
power.
Power. Love makes you do crazy
But
things.
but
So, I
then
mean,
again, like
still.
she didn't know how bad it was until she went to that construction site and looked at the papers and
Yeah.
saw, like, oh my God, this is worse than I ever imagined or ever dreamed. And then she didn't really have time to process it
Right.
before she was all of a sudden radiant red.
hmm
And I like her as a character. I won't tell you too much, but she gets more lovable
Right.
in the next few issues.
Yeah, I'm sure she does, because
She becomes more human,
like I said, I like the
less
character.
asshole-ish.
Well, and she even starts that in that last issue when she's fighting against Marshall. She tries to say, "Look, I wasn't trying to hurt him. I was just trying to scare him to get him to leave me alone." Like
Yeah.
she was trying, and even when the building
She
is
looked
collapsing,
genuine, yeah.
even when the building is collapsing and Nathan's yelling at her to hold up, grab something and hold up, she's genuinely tries, but that's not
Yeah.
the power that she has. She absorbs things. She can't use gravity and hold things up. And
Right.
so, I mean, she does genuinely try. So I think that I'm really gonna like her character the
And then
more
he
that we
tells
get to
her to
see.
leave. He tells her
Yeah,
to
he
get
gets
out of
her
there.
out. He's a great character. Also, another thing that I loved about this story is that the cops know who he is.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great
He's
little
not
twist
hiding
on
his
it.
identity.
He
Yeah.
he can't hide his identity. I mean, he's not going around being like, I'm Radiant Black.
I did
But
think it was funny how they were like he was trying to act at first like,
yeah,
oh no, that was not me. They're like, dude, we literally saw you
right.
transform and grab this car. And
Yeah, I
like,
thought that
come on,
that
man.
was I thought that was wonderful. I love that the cops weren't terrible, even though Marshall was awful. Like
Yeah.
one of my biggest pet peeves are these First Amendment um I don't even remember what they're called, the First Amendment warriors or I don't know, whatever he called himself. That's an actual thing where people like are constantly hassling police over just asking what you're doing. Like they had I understand that there are times where authority figures overstep their bounds and police absolutely need to be held in check, but you're standing on the train tracks and you just came out of the bar drunk.
Yeah.
They're doing their job to ask you what you're doing and to get you off of the freaking
Oh,
train
this is
tracks.
America. I can do whatever I want.
It's like
Actually, you
you're such a
can't.
douche. You're such a douche. I hate that. It drives me crazy. And I love that Nathan called him out on it. I thought that was great. But I love the
Yeah.
idea that the police officers knew who he was and even went and very subtly asked him to help out the community. If you're going to be
Yeah.
here, why don't you help out your community? Look around. There's things happening that you could be helping with. I thought that was a
Yeah.
really
And
fun
then he dropped
story.
that money off that was
Yeah.
stolen.
Yeah. So I overall this first volume, like I had to really fight to not go and read the next ones because, like you said, there's a huge universe here, and I do want to pull up a reading order to see how it goes and what order to read it in. Um, and this is something that I should have been reading from the day it came out because for anybody, if you're listening to this and you don't know what we're talking about, you haven't read Radiant Black. The best way I've heard it described is the way Kyle Higgins described it, that this is Power Rangers for adults.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Okay.
If
I,
you're a
I
Power
I hadn't
Rangers
heard that
fan,
before.
which I am a Power Rangers fan, that's what this is. It feels like Power Rangers for adults. These aren't teenagers with attitude. These are people with flaws that have real problems in their life that get ridiculous superpowers. They're different colored suits, excuse me, and they've got to fight some extraterrestrial, otherworldly threat. And it is a joy to read. I read through normally because I'm a slow reader, I'll read one issue of a comic at a time, even if I'm trying to read through like a long run. I
Hmm.
blew through the first 2.5 issues, even though I was exhausted the other night as soon as I got it. Because I got through the first issue and I was like, I got to keep going. And I got through the second issue. I was like, I got to keep going. And then I fell asleep as I was reading the third.
No.
And so it really kept me going. And then knowing that we were only going to talk about the first volume, I had to on purpose stop because I didn't want to be trying to figure out where I am and what we're actually doing. But this is going to be one that I'm going to read all four of the trades that are out right now. And as soon as the fifth one comes out, I'm going to read that. And then I might start picking this up like monthly once I catch up because I love this book. And not we haven't even talked about the artwork. The artwork is incredible and beautiful.
Oh yeah, that's not fair. We gushed over Kyle Higgins the whole time.
Yeah. And the art is just
Radiant.
beautiful. It is radiant. And the color too. Like I feel like colors don't get enough I feel like colors don't get enough credit for what they do.
I agree with that.
Like, your pencil artist and your inkers, they get a lot of play, but colorists do so much, especially in a book like this where you're dealing with a character like Radiant Black and you think, oh, well, like black and white, that can't really be a dynamic costume. The way that they work with the shadow and with the light and everything that goes along with the helmet, everything about the costume is great. The expression in the eyes, as the eyes change, you know exactly what the characters are thinking. Um, and it's just really, really well done. And another thing that I really look at when I'm reading comic books, and anytime that I'm reviewing a book, I mention it is if an artist can nail facial expressions that are showing off different emotions, because excuse me, That's one thing. If you read old comics, like I love reading old comics from Marvel from like the 60s and 70s, back when Stan Lee was writing. But the art at the time wasn't able to really capture like the dynamic emotions because they were just pumping them out so fast that everything had to be said. It was always like a monologue or an editor's note of being like, and now because I can do this, I press this button and I do this and that. Everything had to be described. Whereas now, artists and colorists and inkers are able to convey so much emotion and so much movement just in their artwork that the writer doesn't have to do all that exposition. And this is a stellar example of that. You know exactly what's going on in these characters' heads when they're on screen on page. You don't need a thought bubble. You can see what's happening on their faces. The artwork in this is excellent. Excellent, excellent.
I agree.
I could gush over and over again about the artwork in this and the character designs. My God, the Radiants look so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
They look so freaking
Even
cool.
the villain is really weird, but really cool.
The villain looks wild. I love the look, the colors of the different ones. Radiant Red, when she goes like full Hulkbuster mode to go up against Marshall after he gets his sick cape, it looked great. It looks so cool. The action in it was great. The writing was great. The art was great. I don't have enough good things to say about this. This is the best intro to an independent comic book that I've read in a very long time, maybe ever. Like, I got more excited about this book than I do about a lot of things. I'm more excited to read this than I am to read this month's Avengers comic, and I've been reading Avengers for 25 years now. So it is excellent. Rant over. Ian, take it away. My throat is like scratchy as can be.
With that being said, check out Volume 1 of Radiant Black. Check out Volume 2 of Radiant Black. Don't stop there.
Don't stop.
Dive into it. Dive into the Massiverse. It is getting massive.
It is.
No pun intended. There's a lot of, like I said, side characters that are getting their own runs now, and as they should. I will vaguely say this because I'm afraid I'm going to say too much if you're wondering why I'm hesitating, because Derek's not as far as me.
Yeah, I'm not as far.
Every character that I've encountered so far, I've enjoyed. There's not been one that I have liked over the other, or, well, okay, I can't really say that. Nathan's my favorite. I like Marshall, and I like what I'm seeing in these upcoming issues that you're not on.
Right.
I do hope that Nathan pulls through, and I do hope that Nathan goes back to being Radiant Black. For those of you that do know, please don't comment and ruin it for us. I'm looking forward to where this goes because I'm liking it a lot. I really want to pick up Volume 1 because Derek, like you said, it's cheap, and I want it for my collection. I think this would be a great book for my collection.
Yeah, I bought this digitally, but after reading it, I think what I'm.
Yeah,
I think I'm
I
going
want
to
the
pick up.
paperback.
I think
I
I'm
want it
going
in
to
my
pick
hands.
up. I think I'm going to pick up all 4 volumes because, like I said, you can bundle it online on Amazon. I think for $48, something like that. That is a really good price for four trade paperbacks that normally would range anywhere from $15 to $25. You can get a bunch of them for under $15, and that's a great deal. And also, Volume 5 is up for pre-order, so you could have all of them in hand, and then one more on the way. But I'm going to leave a link to Volume 1 on Amazon in the description of this, so you can go and check it out for yourself if you haven't yet. Of course, if you haven't, I don't know why you're watching this because we just spoiled it a lot and we just kind of rambled on. But if you've been wondering about whether or not to get into Radiant Black, I definitely think now is a great time. That train is just moving along with some of the best writers and artists in comics right now. What?
I'm going to send something to you.
Do
not look at your phone. Don't look at your phone until this episode is over because you're going to laugh.
All right, I'm staring at my phone. Okay.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
I got a little glimpse of it, and I think I already know what it is.
No,
I'm pretty sure I've already seen it.
Damn it. Okay.
Pretty sure I've already seen it because he was able to build it in a cave.
He was able to build it in a cave.
With a box of scraps. Is that the one? Anyway, Travis Kelce memes are amazing. They've been
Some of
so
them
much
are
fun.
okay. The one I just found on accident was it. I'm trying really hard not to like laugh hard right
My
now.
favorite one that I've seen so far is him yelling at Andy Reid, and it just says Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps. And Andy
Yeah, no,
Reid's
this it's not that one. It's not that
it
one.
it fits so well. Oh my gosh.
Wait till you see the one I sent you.
All right, I can't wait. All right, do you want to say anything else about Radiant Black before we wrap
No,
this up?
Kyle Higgins is amazing, great writer. I don't remember who did the artwork on this, but they are phenomenal as well,
Uh,
and I would like to check out more of
I
their stuff. Check out Kyle Higgins'
Marcelo
run. Shut up.
Marcelo Costa.
Check out Kyle Higgins' run during the Power Rangers because
Mhm.
I haven't got that far, but so far that's pretty good too. Kyle Higgins, you the man. You
Did
know
Kyle
Scott
Higgins do the
Snyder.
Shattered Grid, or was that Cullen Bunn?
I want to say the other guy.
Because Cullen Bunn
Um,
did
I
the
no, I
Power
think
Rangers versus Godzilla,
I
which
think
was
they
amazing.
intertwined at
Yeah,
some point
I don't
because I
know.
think the Shattered Grid is mentioned in this run.
Yeah, after Radiant Black, maybe we'll dive into Power Rangers.
Yeah, like I said, I've been reading that. Oh, and if you haven't played Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, that's a
So
nice
much fun.
fighting game too. Yeah.
So much fun. All right. So Radiant Black, have you read it? What did you think about it? Let us know. If you haven't read it, definitely check it out. Again, there'll be a link below. If this is your first time here, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell. I know I said that at the beginning, but I'm saying it again because it's that important. This is a new YouTube channel. Also, if you're listening on the podcast, it's not new. It's been around for a long time. Rate and review us anyway. It helps out. Thank you to everybody who's been listening, especially the people in the lovely country of Germany, who apparently we have recurring listeners. We love you. You're amazing. Tell David Hasselhoff we said hello. Um, that's the dumbest thing I've ever said. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Oh, God. For Ian, I've been Derek. This has been the Paperweight Entertainment Podcast. And for some reason, we'll see you next time.